Hey everybody, Boris speaking Forex. Welcome to the crosses section for August 6th to August 10th, 2018. And actually, the crosses present probably some of the more interesting trades this week because, as I said, the majors are very suppressed by lack of volatility, lack of any kind of meaningful drivers this week. But on the crosses, there are a couple of interesting opportunities that are clearly setting up, if nothing else, on a purely technical basis. Let's take a look at what I have found this week and share with you some of the ideas. So Euro Yen to me, as I already hinted in the other video, really looks like a very, very strong downward trend. This is a combination of the fact that Euro really wants 115 and Yen just can't seem to get out of its way. So looking at and I will get to the charts in just one second, it really looks like a trend straight down to the 127. So resistance is 130, support is 127, and the risk off kind of a strong move to the downside still has some legs, in my opinion. We'll take a look at the charts in just one second. The next idea that is just itching for a breakout, and we have been actually here several times before, but it feels like this week could be different, specifically if the RBNZ hints at just a modicum of hint that there is a prospect of perhaps easing as we go forward. If there is, if the RBNZ is neutral to dovish, there's very strong possibility here that Kiwi can break the 67, and that puts us above the 110 key resistance level in Aussie Kiwi. In either case, Aussie Kiwi 109, 110, that's the very tight range, but we're really looking on the charts as about ready to break that to the top side, and if we do, there's certainly more upside potential coming from there. And then last but not least, the same kind of idea on the weakness of the euro as we're seeing, but combined with potential strength of CAD. If CAD can come up with good data, we have potential here to go all the way down to 148. All of this pretty clear on the charts as we see. You see, look at dollar CAD here ending on the Euro CAD ending on the lows of the day, lows of the week. If we go to the weekly charts, you can see this as well. A very, very strong move to the downside. We do have, we certainly do have this clear support at the 49s. So it's only about 100 points until we hit support. And it's a pretty decent support, but from here to there, it's still about 100 points worth of momentum, and I think it's very achievable, it's reachable there. EuroCAD, once it wants to catch a bid one way or the other, tends to have multi-week continuations. So you can see here to the downside, you can see here to the upside. A lot of it is driven, in some ways, obviously, the situation that I find interesting here is it's not a one-sided trend. We have a clear weakness in the euro. We have a clear strength in the caddy. That's the best kind of a combination for a potential cross move to the downside. So I like this down to the 149 at minimum, perhaps down to all the way down to the 148. And then the last trade that I wanted to share with you, which where am I? Sorry, let me come back to the crosses. We talked about euro yen. Let's take a look at Aussie Kiwi first. I kind of went backwards, so I don't want to confuse you. So we did Euro CAD from the bottom. Let's do Aussie Kiwi here as our middle idea. This is a weekly chart, and you see, yes, this 110 is really, really big resistance. But what's bullish about this particular structure is look at this bullish candle. It's a hammer candle closing on the highs of the week, just ready to burst out. These kind of strong moves tend to have, not always, but quite a lot of times, at least a modicum of continuation, right? So whenever you have, this is a very strong move that had some continuation, to the upside. I won't sort of lie to you in a sense that I think this could be a massive breakout. We'll really have to see how it goes. But I do think that 110 is achievable, so that's about 40 points. It's a very low volatility trade, and possibly even really 110.50, because it's 110.72 that is the real high here that is going to be operating as the primary resistance point in this particular pair. Generally, when you're looking at this kind of a weekly chart where you get a higher low and a coiled candle, that's ready to just go to the upside, but look what happens is they test the lows, end on the highs, test the lows, end of the highs. What happens? Very often the next week tends to have lots of continuation. Test the lows, end on the highs. You see this pattern, very, very strong pattern. You got to respect it. I like the fact also, obviously, Kathy's negative inflation expectations and negative RBNZ statement. Both of those things come true. 110 is going to be a given and that should be a really interesting ride to the upside in that particular pair. And then finally, the let me find my euro yen. Where's my euro yen? Here's my euro yen. This is the other continuation trade. This is a weekly candle, also another very, very good weekly candle, because look at this reversal. I mean, that is just a brutal reversal of trend to the downside, right? So we tested the upside, we came back to the downside. This is a reversal of the yen flows, the risk flows, and we're closing on the lows. We have lots of scope here. This is 28.68 as we close, and we essentially have all the way down to 27 as our support area, and a continuation to the downside. I just want to see if I can find you any kind of reversal candles that give you an analog here. Here's one. I'm looking for the red reversal candles, but here's one where we have an uptrend reversal and on the lows of the week, and there's basically 2 or 3 week continuation cycle. I don't know if it's going to be a 2 or 3 week continuation cycle, but I certainly feel pretty confident that we'll have at least midweek continuation cycle. I mean, I like this trade to the downside for the first half of the week, just on momentum flows, and I'd be very surprised if it just stopped dead track over here without any kind of continuation to the downside. It's one of the strongest momentum charts we have, and probably a very interesting opening trade on Monday morning to you, Sunday night to us. So that's pretty much how the crosses shape up. I like Euro Yen to the short side. I like Aussie Kiwi to the long side. And I like Euro CAD to the short side as the week begins. Wish you guys the best luck, the best trading. Boris, over now.